And welcome everybody. It's Dan. Hope you're well today. And with me is Johnny Jensen. Welcome, Johnny. How are you doing?
I'm good, Dan. Happy Friday. Can't
Yeah,
believe it's
happy
Friday
Friday.
already, but obviously that's what happens. 7 days passes and we're back. It's good to see
Yep.
you.
Good to see you too. So I think in today we're going to get straight into it because we've got quite an interesting one. I think I asked Johnny to come up with a list of 5 things that he thinks would make 2024 zing, as I put it. And I've got a list of 5 as well. And we've not discussed these 5 before we went live or anything. So I have no idea what Johnny's going to say. He might say, cover yourself in jam and feathers and run up and down a street naked twice a day. Like, I don't know, Johnny, if that's your thing. It might
And
be.
you said you would do whatever I put on my list as well. So
I did,
there we go.
I did. So there we go. I'll film it. That would be get some extra views in there. But after last time, after the police were called, maybe I shouldn't do. Anyway, all right, Johnny. So you want to go first, or shall I go first? I think you should go first.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to bring I've put it in Keep, and I've been trying to use Google Keep here. So let's try and pop that out into a different tab.
You and technology, yeah. You're pretty good on technology, though. I've got one for you.
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
Let's go with. I know this is on your list actually, so I'm gonna move my list around. Check your numbers every morning. So what I mean by that is you should be checking your financial numbers every morning. And we kind of hit on this a bit last week where we talked about weight loss and that kind of thing. But I also think you should check in on your weight numbers every day, like your how many pounds or how many kilos, and then your waistline. That's the health stuff. The financial stuff should be, you know how much money is going to come in, you know how much money you've got going out, and you should keep a running total every single month so that you can see in advance whether you've got enough money at the end of the month to pay all your bills. So I think we might have spoken about this before. Certainly we've spoken about it, maybe not on a live stream, but being able to forecast financially for me, which I've done for like 12 years now, was an absolute game changer for me, because it meant that I was able to go, okay, I know I'm going to have a problem 3 months from now because I've got, let's say, service charges are coming through from the property and it's 4 grams worth of service charges. And it's like, okay, so I know that that's coming in 3 months. I've got to somehow find 4 grand. And a better conversation for me would be, why don't I just save £400 a month? And then if it's a surprise in the service charges, I've got £4,800. I've got £800 extra, all allocated, so that when I come in January to hit those service charge payments, I've actually got the money already allocated. And little things like going on holiday. You know, you want a really nice holiday, it's 3 grand. Okay, that's £250 a month. You want a new laptop, how much is that? £1,500. Okay, so that's what, £120 a month? Like, we live a monthly lifestyle, and our income is often monthly if you're in a job, or it can be ad hoc if you're not in a job. But we still live monthly. You know, we pay our phone bills monthly, we pay our electricity bill monthly, and you should be able to forecast when your bills are coming in, and then you know how much money you should have in your bank account ready to hit those. If you're not hitting those numbers, then you know there's a problem, but it's better to know the problem now than when you got bailiffs knocking on your door. So that was my number 1, Johnny.
Yeah, how does that I've got so many questions, right? We could do a whole show on this, but just a couple. What do you know, I forget whether it's Rich Dad Poor Dad or Richest Man in Babylon. I'm not quite sure which, but that whole pay yourself first adage.
Can I just say, Rich Dad Poor Dad is Richest Man in Babylon.
Oh, okay. Just repackaged for the
yeah. It's interesting because, like, I've read both those books, and I remember reading Richest Man in Babylon, thinking this is just like Rich Dad Poor Dad, and obviously Richest Man in Babylon is like 50, 60 years old, and so that's interesting, but it's kind of the same thing. Okay. So yeah, paying yourself first. I think it means it in 2 ways, really. One is in terms of the tax man. So if you're in a job, you pay tax first, right, and then you get whatever is left. When you're self-employed, you have an ability to buy a car, buy a new phone, buy a laptop, business expenses, hotel expenses, some flight expenses, coffee, biscuits. You know, you can offset that against your tax. So you're paying yourself first by those things, and then you pay tax on what's left. And this is called pre-tax pound investing, whereas most people are using post-tax pound investing. And actually, we should probably do a podcast just on that alone, because it's quite an interesting one, I think. And then the other aspect of this about paying yourself first is that, there's all these bills and all these credit card things. You should be paying yourself first and allocating what you need in order for you to live your lifestyle, right? And if you're doing that and it turns out you've not got enough money to pay for these other things, you need to change your lifestyle. Having the cash flow forecast on a month by month, I'm doing this because it's in columns, right?
Yeah.
Month by month by month will tell you whether you can afford to live or not at the moment. And if you can't afford to live right now, well, you need to change that. In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Desiato Hot Black, which is actually the name of an estate agency in London, he died for a year for tax purposes in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because he couldn't afford his tax, which I thought was quite funny. And I'm not for 1 second suggesting we do that, but you should be aware of what your monthly expenses are and what your income should be. And if there's a gap, you need to plug it. Yeah,
absolutely. And in my High Value Man program, I've got an exercise where it's classic income and expenditure, right? But then there's on the second sheet is planning what your desired income would look like. So if you want a 5-bedroom house and it's going to cost $5,000 a month, then okay, that's going to go on there. If you want to join a decent gym, or you want to get a massage each week, or you want to suddenly you say, okay, well, this is what I've currently got. The lifestyle I desire looks like this. Oh, wow. I've got a $200,000 a year gap between, and it's so obvious, but also no one does that. Like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. You've no idea what the actual number is. So when we get laser focus on, okay, a 5-bedroom house actually looks like this kind of income. Wow. Okay. Now I know what my numbers are.
Yeah. And I think it's like people have these dreams without actually knowing what the cost of those dreams even is. And let's say it's a £3 million house, or let's go with a bit more fancy. Let's go with a yacht, right? Well, okay. Well, how much is a yacht to buy? It's £3 million. Well, how much do you need each month? You're going to pay cash for it. Okay. So it's 300 grand if you want to buy it in 10 months, or if you want to buy it in 10 years, it's 30 grand. It's 300 grand a year that you need to say. Even though something as a yacht is such a ridiculous goal, why not have that as a goal? As long as you're working out your numbers, and then work out your car, and then work out your house, and then work out how much Disneyland is. Well, that's £5,000. Okay, so that's £500 a month for 10 months, or it's £250 a month for 20 months, and we can keep going with us, 125 quid for 40 months, right? Oh, that's a holiday of a lifetime. So it's going to take me 40 months to do it, 3.5 years for 125 quid. God, well, I'll do that. It's doable, right? But we've got to quantify what those numbers should be. And that's one of the reasons why every single morning I open 2 bank accounts. One is the business and one is the property. I see what's come in, what's gone out, and I update the spreadsheet, same on the business. And then I have a cash flow forecast for my personal life, which gets automatically updated. Yeah. And I even have a play fund, like it's 200 quid. What do I want to spend it on this month? Where do I want to go? Do I fancy a night out in Benidorm, which is 2.5 hours down the road for me? Then I can do that. 100 quid for a hotel, 50 quid for a night out. It's not a lot in Benidorm, let's face it. What is it? What do you want? So maybe that's December's or January. Or I just bought myself an assault bike. It's not Rogue, is it?
I saw the picture. Yeah, I saw the picture.
Yeah. So I just bought that, €600. That comes out of my play fund because I've not spent my play fund. So I've saved up and I bought it for cash. I didn't finance it or anything like that. But if I did, if I did want that, that's 50 quid a month for 8 months, 6 months.
Yeah. And no one does that. And say such a small percentage of people do that. And then the rest of us just wondering why we're stressing about money.
Yeah. That was a game changer for me 12 years ago when I started doing that.
Yeah. And stress about money is so prevalent in relationship problems, in men's mental health problems, and bizarrely, it's so manageable simply by managing it. That's
having a conversation. Yeah. Okay, what's yours?
Shoot the elephant in the room. So this is on mental health, really, but also leveling up around, in my 3XC formula, it's the courage part. So it's C number 2, getting honest about what's holding you back, or getting honest about actually, what do I really think about this situation? And so you think, oh, it's not really that important, but that expression, it's the elephant in the room. If you're carrying that round with you, we just mentioned stress about money, that could be the elephant in the room. Oh, I'm fine, thanks. Actually, I'm bricking it about paying the bills this month. What's the elephant in the room? I just can't cope with having a sexless marriage. Oh, hi darling, how's it going? And then every 6 weeks you have a massive row. The row is about the elephant in the room. And obviously my work is with men inside of High Value Man, and having men take responsibility for that. And instead of it being this thing they're trying to hide from, actually shoot the elephant in the room, own it, actually have power over the subject, address it, make adjustments, have conversations you need to have, but ultimately step up, for yourself around the area that's otherwise in the background causing you stress and concern.
It's very good. I love that. And everyone talks about, let's not mention the elephant in the room, but actually shooting it, like, from a non-hunting sense, I should add, like just dealing with it head on. And actually, it takes a lot of courage, I think, to actually have that conversation with your partner, or even have that conversation with yourself. We talked about guys that are overweight and in a sexless marriage, and it's like, you need to do something about that. And some of it could be losing weight, and some of it could be having a chat with your partner. And it could even be getting counseling. It's 2023, for God's sake. We're not all perfect, and sometimes you just need an extra hand to help you along and how to get those conversations flowing with your partner. If that's a thing that's going to save your marriage, where you've got kids invested in it and all the rest of it, then you should go do that. As challenging as that is, that's where courage comes from.
Absolutely. That's why that section is called courage. The thing that the thing that troubles us the most, or often the most difficult thing on our plate, is the thing that we should tackle. Brian Tracy, Shoot the Frog. It's difficult because you're not addressing it, and so often what's on the other side of addressing it is magical, let alone better. And so shoot the elephant in the room. Totally
love it.
Next up, where are you at?
So mine then, I mean, it's Friday today. I'm on day 5 of CrossFit. I'm off tomorrow. I've got my air bikes. I'll be doing that on Sunday. So my working out is basically it for an extra one for me for 2024. I've already done a lot of sessions in 2023, and we actually calculated how many CrossFit hours I've done, and I think it was 323 as a fair approximation, which is actually quite a lot. And you think that's quite a lot, and then you hear about Malcolm Gladwell, 10,000 hours to become an expert at something, and you're like, oh, I've got some to go, But the changes that have happened for me since I've been consistently working out, and I can, just for the last couple of days, I caught myself in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, and you can see the muscle coming up here, and it's just changing. There's still the gut, by the way, that's still there, and that's a diet thing. But it will go all on its own with the continued going to the gym, eating right. I just got back from eating cheesecake this morning because I have cheesecake every Friday. But it's fine. I did a CrossFit session, and I burned those calories off to some extent. So it's having consistency in the working out. And if you're watching this or listening to this on a podcast, if you're not working out, you are missing a massive trick. I've had so many conversations around CrossFit, and not the physical aspect, but the mental health aspect. Like, I'm such a superior, increasingly powerful man than I was just 12 months ago, because I can walk into a room and feel very, very confident about my physical ability. So if you think you might get into a scrap, which never happens, I'm 51 for God's sake, but you can see some guys, and you're like, no, it's fine, I can handle it. The confidence that gives from a mental point of view. Yesterday I played basketball, so I did an hour of CrossFit, played an hour and a half of basketball, still kicked ass. I'm so much fitter than I was, and that confidence comes through into all different areas of my lifestyle. So for those guys that want to make 2024 absolutely kick ass, working out has to be up there.
And just simply on a numbers game, the percentage of people who don't do it is massive. It's like reading a book. The percentage of people that don't read a book is huge. So being someone that does, it doesn't mean you got to win the marathon. It doesn't mean you got to be the CrossFit UK champion. It's about, wow, the percentage of people that aren't going to be prepared to do this, if I do it, how much further ahead does that put me than the masses?
Yeah.
And when you're talking about your own confidence and where you're at as you approach any situation, simply knowing that about yourself, I'm someone that does more than the average person. That is a buzz. That's where you can look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm up to stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was playing basketball, I was telling Richard I play basketball with about our dog escaped, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I had no shoes on. I had shorts and a t-shirt on, and I chased after her 200 meters down, overtook her, picked her up, came back. Superman. Literally, I felt like Superman. Right, my 8-year-old's crying, she's in tears, thinking dog's going to get knocked down. And I ran fast enough to overtake this bloody dog in bare feet. Like, that is a superpower. Like. And I stood on a stone on my heel. I had an injury for a couple of days. And I loved that injury because it's not an injury playing squash. It's an injury rescuing your dog that's about to get knocked down and overtaking it. And I was super proud of myself. And having that ability.
My next one actually dovetails into this perfectly, yeah? Compete.
Yeah.
Enter an event and compete. There's so much to this. Make yourself zing in 2024, this one, okay? Now, it could be as simple as park run, right? Happens every Friday. It's free to enter. There's a flavor of what goes on there, which is an event. You turn up, it's a set time. You've got the sort of the butterflies of walking down to the start line. You've got all the people there. You've got the welcome everybody, 5 minutes to go. And there's an element of being at an event there, okay? But still, that's if you do that all the time, you need to go to the next level. Signing up for a High Rocks, we've done that this year. Dirty Rotten Scramble, if you're part of the High Value Man community, we'll be doing that again in June. There's events everywhere, right? But it's about the whole experience of training, knowing that dates in your diary, thinking, right, what did I do that 10K in this month? What can I do in this month? How much quick am I going to be when I get to that month? Even just finishing it, finishing my first triathlon, the New York Marathon, horrific experience, was totally unprepared. Every part of it though was mega, and finishing it, I could have stopped so many times. I literally crawled over the line, but the crowd, the occasion, if you don't do this, right? If you do, so it's about getting out of your comfort zone, really. But working out's one thing. Getting yourself signed up for an event, even being able to declare it, part of committing something is a declaration. When you've signed up for an event, you have to say to people, on June the 26th is the Dirty Rotten Scramble, and I'm going to do I don't want to do the 30K, but I've signed up for the 30K, okay?
Yeah.
And so other people are like, whoa, okay. People come and watch you. The buzz, my kids don't really want to come and do this now, but certainly when they were little, the buzz of having your kid there at the finishing line, cheering you over the line, you can't. That's just what's that expression? You can't buy that. Yes, it's irreplaceable. It's unique. Yeah. So compete. Get yourself into an event. Like I said, we've got Dirty Rotten Scramble and some other stuff coming up for the High Value Men crew.
And I'm chuckling to myself because just yesterday I saw a CrossFit competition. And it's in Kent in April, which means I have to get on a plane. It's a one-day event. It's 45 quid. I have to get on a plane. I have to go over. I have to stay in hotels. For me, that's actually quite a big thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. And then you say that, and I'm like, for God's sake, Johnny, I'm going to have to bloody well sign up now.
I know. And I'm in Kent. I'm in Maidstone. So
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can come and laugh at me dying then. And I'm looking at the workouts, and I'm like, you know what? I can actually do 30 kilogram thrusters. Well, I can do them. I can do those now. And if I know that I've got that in April, guess what I'm going to be practicing, right? With heavier weights to make sure I don't come last because, I'm competitive. And it's like this. I think that's the bit that you've missed out as well about competition is that knowing that you've got that 30K in June, let's say, and you're only capable of running 5K, well, you better get a wriggle on. You need Absolutely. You need to perform better. And now you've got a time scale, and that can make all the difference in your health. And I think even if you're a couch potato and you're not running at all, you sign up for that and you want to do 15K. What an absolute achievement that is for someone who's a couch potato and doing that. So I think that's really valuable. Thanks, Johnny. A good one. Next up, when we've been doing a lot of this in 2024, increased visibility, both online, an increasing amount of podcasts. I mean, I almost do a podcast every day currently. Being featured in magazines, and then being a guest, either as a guest writer on other people's websites or as a guest on other people's shows or podcasts or whatever you want to call it. So 2023 has been really good for us. We've gone live a lot and we've had gaps. And when we've gone live again, we've done a lot of podcasts. We've got a lot of YouTube shorts going out that we've got scheduled until, another 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm looking at that. We put a video out maybe 6 times a day, which is huge. And I'm like, okay, how can we double that? What else can we do? And so and this is for specifically online. And so it's podcasts, magazines, guest writing, because people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So that first bit, if people don't know you, they're never going to buy from you. So it's like, how can we get everybody in Leeds or everybody in the UK to know I exist and my business exists? And so that's, for us, is a really focused channel that we're going to put a lot of our energy into.
Yeah, and we've spoken about this, and one way or another, with me juggling all sorts of aspects of my life, I'm not getting enough of that out there. And that's so easy for all business owners to say, oh, well, yeah, but you don't understand. Well, actually, where's the priority there? Because if we're going back to the cash flow and the finance side at the one at the top, there isn't another. There's not another way, and where we're at in 2024 as we go into it with marketing and social media and the algorithms and the internet and ChatGPT and all, like, it's gonna pick the people that come up most. So no matter how small or niche your industry is, or what it is that you do, or whether it's a location, there isn't really much of a choice but to say, yeah, I run this business, or and this is what I do for my people. And then can you get your people to say, I work in this business, and this is what I do for our clients? Like, it isn't enough to simply say, oh yeah, we know we should do that, but we're trying, which is kind of what I keep saying.
So people say, oh, we're not going to do marketing because it doesn't work. And you kind of went to the edge of that a little bit. And it's like, okay, you're not going to do marketing because it doesn't work. What else are you going to do? Like, you're going to not market? Like, you're not going to get in front of customers? You're not going to email them or write to them? Like, how are you going to do that? Okay, cool. What's your next one for 2024?
I'm picking between my 5s now. I'm going to change it up a little bit, and this one I'm going to reset your relationship.
Nice.
So the magic of being with someone a long time is the love and connection and everything that you've created together. But for so many people as well, what also comes with that is the baggage, the things that have not been said, the frustration, the resentment, the blame. There's so much that we bring into our day-to-day relationship that if it was the first week of our relationship, the first month, even the first year of our relationship, we wouldn't be like that to our partner. We wouldn't be that frustrated with them. We wouldn't be like, oh, you always do this. So, and we get convinced that our experience of everyday life is the experience. We doubt that we have a control over it. But what if you said to your partner, to your wife, do you know what? We're gonna start again. We're gonna completely reset our relationship. What would that look like? I don't know for you. You'd have to play with it. But would it be like, okay, we're gonna sleep in different rooms for 3 weeks. We're gonna date. We're gonna we're gonna go out, and we're gonna flirt with each other. And if we end up in bed, it'll be because there was a passion and a drive to do it. Now that might sound like really weird and kind of ridiculous, but is it? Why should it be? You get to decide what the reset would look like for you. And I've actually got a process inside of High Value Man, which takes people through this. First of all, it's the reset, and then it's the more regular reconnection. But what are your goals? What do you love about the other person? Or what are your aspirations and desires for a healthy relationship? What do you want to make each other a cup of tea in the morning? Do you want to have sex 4, 5, 6 times a week? Do you want to go out and on an adventure, go on a hike, walk the dog? Are you a city person or a country person? want to go to a concert or a meal out. Like, how well do you know each other these days? And so a reset is a completely fresh start, an opportunity to say, I am totally committed to you, and I want to I want to reset our relationship. I want to wake up like this is the start of, let's call it a next chapter, but it is the start. And from a start, we're not bringing any of that old stuff into the new. And done right, as a commitment to that person, you would hope, can't expect, but you would hope that she would be equally excited about doing this with you.
Love it. Fabulous. All right, my next one, build your network in the real world. So obviously we live online, and especially since the pandemic, when everything was online, wasn't it? We all got zoomed out in the end. We just got fed up with it. And I think that there's a tendency to go for the easiest thing. I play a lot of basketball, so when you're down a lot of points, it's easier to stand on a 3-point line, just shoot baskets. You might miss, but it's easier. Or you could drive in, you might get hit, and you might end up on the floor, and it's painful. But actually, that's the bit that's going to score the most points. But it's easier just to sit on the back and just shoot threes, right? And I think the equivalent there is it's really easy just to go live 15 times a day and 10 times a week and do podcast. That's the easy bit. Actually getting your ass out of your chair and going to physically meet somebody, I think is really difficult. And going to networking events, because it's an hour there, 2 hours, an hour to get there, 2 hours there, an hour, that's 4 hours. Yeah, you can create 10 online events in the same time, but it has to be a balance. And one area, obviously for me, because I live in Spain, it's so much easier doing virtual sessions. And when I go to England, I want to see family and friends, go for a pint, and it's like, no, I need to actually physically meet people more and build my network in the real world. And when I've done that, I've always had an increasingly amount of success. And so that's something that I really need to focus on as we become more normal after the pandemic, which seems like a distant memory and also like yesterday all at the same time kind of thing, So for me, I think just building that network in a real world will help me in 2024.
Yeah, and that reference to lockdown, actually, people have got, again, it's like people have got out of the habit. It's like, okay, well, that's a load of, I hate all those references. So someone on their Music Magpies customer service the other day, it said, we are, we're please bear with us whilst we, work with less staff because of, like, that was 2 years ago. Would you just at least come up with a new excuse while your customer service is shit, right? The getting out there, I thought about it myself as well. Interesting that you brought this one up, right? Because I thought to myself, what would going and giving a talk look like? How many people would I need to pitch? What sort of one-sider would I need to put out there? Would I be happy to turn up at a 5-person, dad's group event, or would it need to be a 200 people Chamber of Commerce event? Probably both. Like, who are you right now to say which it should be? And I think obviously being a guest on a podcast, okay, fine. But again, what's it like to actually find a podcast agency and be the one that goes there and meets those people and meets that PR person, meets that booker?
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I haven't stood on a stage and talked. I don't think I've stood on a stage and spoke for 3 years. And I used to speak publicly all the time. Once every 5 or 6 weeks, I would be speaking to a room or from a stage. And that's what, and as a guy I follow, a PT, does really good tweets, Oliver Anwar, I think his name is. That is his name. I'm just not sure I'm pronouncing it right. And he put out a tweet the other day saying, I pitched, he was talking about WeWork, like co-working spaces. I put out however many approaches to co-working spaces to go and give a talk there, and one of them said yes. And he goes, and I can tell you that was the start.
Yeah, that's interesting. Tony Robbins, when he first started out, and obviously Tony Robbins runs events with 10,000 people. I've been to a couple of them at UPW. It's like a rock concert. It's an amazing experience. He started off with like 2 or 3 people in his house. That's how he started his journey. And it's like, look at, like we don't know where it's going to end up, but by turning down those 5 people events, you never get to the 100 people event. So you got to start at 5, and then you work up, and it is part of your journey, young Padawan. You know, grasshopper.
Martin Luther King. I've actually searched this up before, so I can't pull the exact stat from my head, but the number of times he gave the "I Have a Dream" speech. He didn't just write it the night before he spoke to 1 million people in Washington, right? He'd been giving that speech across America in church groups and village halls, town halls. You don't just get 1 million people turn up. You have to put the hard miles in.
What's next on your list?
Oh, what's next on my list? So they're actually a little bit connected, actually, I'm realizing as I'm about to say them, but plan for fun. Okay, a lot of the points, when we talk about this kind of subject, it's natural that planning comes into it, right? And we've talked about money, we talk about fitness, competing in an event, but actually planning for fun. I've created it's called it's a bit cheesy, right? But it's called the Fun Map. And it says, like, how much fun have you scheduled for the next 12 months? And it's easy. The easiest way is to talk about friends. You know, I've got some of my greatest friends in the world, mates from uni. And I was chatting to one the other day, and we hadn't seen each other for nearly 1.5 years. Now, is that your commitment to your friends? Well, probably not. And then you've got to say, well, is that commitment to yourself? What does it take to actually go and have some fun? Not summer just gone, but the summer last year, so 2022, we went up to Liverpool. We stayed overnight. We went to, we had a meal on the Sunday. We went to Alton Towers on whatever day it was. And it was brilliant. My kids still talk about it. The pictures come up on my Alexa and stuff as a reminder. And increasingly as well now, festivals and things, you have to buy the tickets so long in advance, let alone how much it bloody costs to go to these things. So put it in the diary. You know, it's all well and good to talk about, oh, we've got a holiday coming up and how much we've got to save for that. But if you want to have a dinner party with some friends of yours, get some people over for dinner, a lot of people, they're booked up for months. They're not even booked up with fun stuff, booked up with crap. Driving their kids here, doing a club there, work, something or other. So from a basic having people round to your house for a night of fun, to going to a concert that you've got to buy the tickets for, to planning a weekend away, either with your friends or with your missus or with your kids individually, to booking a festival, like literally look at your 12 months ahead. And this phrase I use all the time called plans to look forward to and memories to look back on. And you have to make it happen. Otherwise, it simply doesn't. And then you're left thinking, why don't I have any fun?
I had a conversation with a friend of mine I'm 3 weeks older than he is. So we're both the same age, 51. And we see each other twice a year. And last time I saw him was in London for about an hour and a half. That's all we had, right? And I said to him, you know, we see each other twice a year. I love seeing him again at Christmas. It's usually Christmas and summer, and that's it. I said, so we're 50-ish, 51. We're going to see each other till, say, 75. We're seeing each other twice a year. So out of the 50 times we're going to see each other, this is one of them. And it kind of went, why? And it's like, oh, yeah, shit. Like the realization that now we've got 49 left. What are we going to do? Another pint? Or we're going to do something. We're going to go to a concert, get absolutely wankered, have an amazing time, go whitewater rafting, or we're just going to have another pint and a meal. We've got 49 left, and after that, and he went white, and it kind of the realization, and it was a realization for me as well that this is true, you know. And it's like, okay, yeah, we need to plan better for sure, and we need to do more things. And the other thing I love about this idea that you've got, Johnny, is that when you plan something in advance, what you're actually planning is 2 things. One is you're planning hope, because you've got nothing to look forward to. Then you're going whitewater rafting in June. Now you've got hope. Hope is something to look forward to, right? So now you've not only got something to look forward to, when you actually get to that event, you've also created something else called joy. Now you've created hope and joy that you might not have had in the past. Yeah. Those 2 things are really powerful.
Absolutely. I just so vital. People just forget as well how to have fun. There's a habit there of just enjoying life.
and giving yourself permission because we're older and we're parents and we should do the parenting thing. We still have our own lives to live. Why should we not have fun?
Yeah.
My next one then is kind of related, I guess. Deepen existing relationships. And I actually didn't mean that with friends and family and so on. But actually, now we've just had that conversation. Yeah, it does mean that. But I actually meant it because I'm so business orientated, and that's my main focus at the moment. Is that deepening relationships with people that you already know. So like we've never actually met. And I feel like I've known you for years. I probably have. And I feel like I know you, right? But we've not even had a pint and a curry. So like, I need to go and have a pint and a curry.
Really.
And this is a really good example of exactly what we're talking about, really. Because we've known each other for years. We know each other really well. And we've not like called each other a wanker to each other's face yet. Like, what sort of friends are we if if you're not at that level? So deepening existing relationships. And we're back. Sorry about that, Johnny. I think that's my thing going down there. So yeah, deepen existing relationships, I think, is really powerful for me in 2024.
Yeah, and I call it the Diamond Alliance in my training, in my coaching, and that's your partner, your wife, your partner. It's your family, it's your friends and family, it's your children, and then it's your business, mentors and network. And when you look at the four corners of that diamond and say, wow, okay, there's the relationships that matter. And I think was it you and I talking last week just about the balance across the key areas of our life, is that if you don't make time for everything, things go wrong. It's inevitable. You can't. Actually, it was on the Brotherhood call, the High Value Man Brotherhood call on Monday. It's great that you can hustle and put all the energy into work and grow the business, but if you don't during that process go and have fun, take your wife out, spend individual time with each of your kids, suddenly you like, wow, what was it all for? All the money you worked hard to go on holiday for, you get on the plane and you're all fucking pissed off at each other. Like I say to one of my mantras for my kids' performance is relationship before results.
Yeah.
And when I find myself getting too like, you need to do this, you need to do that. Why haven't you got there? What about that? I have this. Okay, hang on a minute. My relationship with these guys is more important than their results.
Yeah.
Okay, so my final one.
Yes.
Scare yourself shitless.
Nice. What does that look like?
It depends what fear or let's call it adrenaline looks like for you. Okay, this falls into the energy area of the 3XC, right? It's and certainly inside of the fire code, it's about having fun. Like, are you planning for fun? We just mentioned it a minute ago. But scaring yourself shitless, there's something about our bodies that have been designed to explode us with chemicals when the situation is right.
Yeah.
Going raving and taking ecstasy, like, is kind of a flashback to my youth, but there's a part of some of those experiences on a stage with lasers and thousands of people. And of course, some of that was an enhanced experience, but oh my gosh, that rush, that sort of awakening of the moment, the heightened sensitivity of all of our feelings. And now we can still experience that without without the additional support. Going fast in a car, like book a track day. Like, there's something about driving around a track with the car sideways and like, oh my gosh. When I went skiing last year, I'm actually going skiing again at Christmas. So the kids stopped for a hot chocolate. I said, I'm just going to go for a quick run. They just snow plowed this long red and it was like end of season. So it was perfectly flat. On my watch, I got up to 70 kilometers an hour. And when I stopped, I had scared myself shitless, like literally like, whoa. Now, we don't do that enough in our life. getting on stage and speaking, getting on stage and playing a guitar, getting on stage, doing a solo. Like I was at my kids' choir Christmas thing at the church last night. This one girl did an incredible performance, and she was obviously nervous to start with. Within probably a minute of the 3 minutes that she sang for, she was fully in her groove, and it was stunning. So she had to go through that first minute to get to the magic bit.
Yeah.
In the same way that all the other scenarios I've just shared as an experience there. So, on my bucket list, I want to do the flying K, where you just point the skis down and you've got the wind thing on. I want to do that. I've never skydived, I want to do that. You could go and do it in one of those air tunnels as a start, or you could go and do a tandem one as a start. Driving fast, you can't drive fast anywhere these days, but go and do it at a track day. Like, to experience that rush of emotions and that adrenaline is something we all have to have in our life. Go rock climbing. Like, what's your greatest fear? If it's height, go rock climbing or do a skydive. Like, really challenge yourself to go, oh my gosh. And even a roller coaster. Let's be clear, that reference to Alton Towers. A couple of those roller coasters I got off and I thought that was horrific. I'm never doing that again. But still, the adrenaline was there to be experienced. And as humans, why not take ourselves to the edge of our experiences?
I love it. And that sums up our 10 for 2024. That's an awesome list. Like, if you could imagine a guy that's just living a normal life, and then he takes those 10 things and implements them for next year, imagine how different that would be for 2024 for them. Like, massively different.
Yeah. Oh my
wonderful.
Gosh. I just got goosebumps. Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you for that, Johnny. We're not live next week because I'm on a plane going to freezing cold England. I was literally just sat outside eating cheesecake, getting sunburnt, regretting that I'd not worn shorts because it's so bloody hot here. It's like 22 degrees in the sun, getting sunburnt, literally. And then obviously next week we're going to grey England, grey Leeds anyway. So we're not live next week, so it'll be in the new year. But thank you, Johnny, for your attendance today. And thanks for your 5 out of 10. And we'll catch up with you on the next one.
Yeah. To those people listening, I'll see you in the High Value Man community or next time on the Mindset and Hustle Show. Thanks, Dan. Merry Christmas, I guess. Merry Christmas.
Same to you. Yeah. Take care.
Take care. Bye.